So you may be aware of the leaks that have occurred with the GoPro HERO 12, but there's more. So if you haven't heard, then you can check out this video up right here. But just to give you a quick rundown of what we already know that it's going to have very similar specs by the look of it to the GoPro HERO 11. The same form factor as the previous few generations, the same sensor, and pretty much the same specs, apart from a few upgrades here and there. But what is interesting is, and people seem to have been glossing over this, is that it will feature HDR video. Now, HDR video has been available in other cameras already, even in the Insta360 One RS, that's already available there. But it's about how is this accomplished. How HDR works is there are two different exposures and then they're blended together to give you better exposure in the shadows and the highlights at the same time. Now, if GoPro's found some really interesting way to do this, maybe they're doing alternate frames, one at a higher exposure level and one at a lower, and then blending it into one as you record, or whether it's because there's a much bigger dynamic range and then they're able to compress that into a better looking HDR image, but then it's burnt as a Rec 709 rather than it being a true 2020 or whatever else. Remains to be seen, but it's something to bear in mind that is an upgrade over the 11. So another thing that's been glossed over a bit and has been 100% confirmed now, because Amazon leaked their product page early, so now we have 100% confirmation that the GoPro 12 will be released on September the 13th. On that Amazon product page, it states that log is available. Now, a few people, again, you may have already heard about the log profile, but let me just give you a bit more information of what that means. Now, flat is getting towards a sort of log profile, but log will actually enable us to have a higher dynamic range and give us more options when we're color grading. It just tends to protect the highlights better and also protect the shadows. Whereas with previous GoPros, if we wanted to accomplish protected highlights, we'd have to drop the EV down to minus 0.5 or minus 1, which actually meant sacrificing the overall exposure. But if we can do this with a log profile, it means we don't necessarily need to do that, and we can preserve the highlights a lot easier. So actually it will improve picture quality overall. So if you're into GoPro Labs, you may already have seen that there was a sort of log profile that you could unlock for the GoPro HERO 11. But this probably will be an evolution of that, and it's going to be implemented into the software, so it should work even better. But be aware that you may already be able to accomplish this with GoPro Labs software if you're into that. So latest leaks are that we now have a Max Lens Mod 2 on the way. And so if you're familiar with the Max Lens mod, what that enabled in older generations of GoPro was that up to 2.7K you could have full 360 horizon lock. Now, we've got used to this now with the GoPro 11 being able to do full 360 lock, even in 5.3K, because of the new taller sensor. But now, it seems like they've worked out a way to utilize this bigger sensor, the taller 8x7 sensor, with this new Max Lens mod, and I'm sure that they'll be able to do some interesting things. We can expect a wider field of view with horizon lock, I would imagine in at least 4K, otherwise there's no point it existing, and it could even be in 5.3K because we already have horizon lock in that setting. So I think it's going to be a worthwhile addition, and the Max Lens Mod 2 probably still compatible with the 11, but also with the 12, and probably with the 12 there'll be more features unlocked, like higher frame rates with the Max Lens Mod than with the 11, as you know, we know what GoPro does with that kind of thing. I'd say it's pretty obvious that the Max Lens Mod 2 will not be compatible with the GoPro 10 and older. You'll have to stick with the Max Lens Mod for that, the original. Often GoPro like to show off some of their new features in their promotional photos, and we've got this new photo that's leaked, which is someone in the sea, and it's dark and gloomy and the camera's covered in water. I would be tempted to think maybe that there have been some improvements to low light gloomy weather, and also maybe they've improved the in and out of water. So in that photo, if you imagine what's just happened there's water droplets all over the camera. So the camera's been submerged under the water and then has come up. So potentially we can see that there's going to be improvements in going from underwater to above water with the white balance and the colouring there with these new features. So we could probably expect to see something there too. Nick Woodman did announce earlier this year that there would be updates to the Quik app for desktop, so for your Mac or PC, and they're needed because it's not been updated for a while. So I'd like to see more options to bring it in line with the phone app, so namely being able to choose your different aspect ratios in a better way than it's implemented now. I think the app is very bare bones for desktop, so it would be good to see that updated, and that's supposed to be updated by Q4 this year, so we can expect to see that probably when the camera is released. So probably we can expect that to be around mid-September too. And with that, I'm sure we'll get more features that are unlocked that are only compatible with the GoPro 12 to give you more reason to upgrade. So this is one that I haven't heard mentioned by anyone else, and it is that the GoPro 12 is going to have Bluetooth 5.2 capabilities. Now, what that can enable is multiple connections with different devices. So you could have a remote connected to your GoPro at the same time as the phone app. With Bluetooth 5.2, you actually do get a battery saving because it's more efficient. So that could explain why the battery life has been extended. It could be purely because of this 5.2. And also, you can transmit higher quality audio through Bluetooth. So we might see new peripherals from GoPro. Maybe there's going to be some kind of wireless audio transmitter from GoPro, which finally, if they can do this, that would be absolutely fantastic. And that would really make them great competition against DJI, which is a weird way to frame it because usually it's the other way around, but it does appear as though GoPro are chasing DJI a little bit now in this action camera market. So if GoPro have cracked that, and now we're going to have some sort of wireless Bluetooth audio, so we don't need to have adapters for our GoPro Hero 12, that will be very, very interesting. So definitely worth still considering. I think there is more to come from the GoPro Hero 12 than meets the eye. And as ever, we'll see you on the next one.